The Irish Free State Constitution Act 1922 was an act of the Parliament of the United Kingdom, passed in 1922 to enact in UK law the Constitution of the Irish Free State, and to formally ratify the 1921 Anglo-Irish Treaty of 6 December 1921. Provisions. As originally enacted, the Irish Free State Constitution Act 1922 consisted of a preamble, 5 sections, and a schedule. The schedule was the text of the Constitution of the Irish Free State Act 1922, which had been passed in Ireland by the Third Dáil sitting as a constituent assembly and provisional parliament for the nascent Free State. This Irish Act itself had 2 schedules, the first being the actual text of the Constitution, and the second the text of the 1921 treaty. The UK Act's preamble quotes Section 2 of the Irish Act. If any provision of the said Constitution or of any amendment thereof or of any law made thereunder is in any respect repugnant to any of the provisions of the scheduled treaty, it shall, to the extent only of such repugnancy, be absolutely void and inoperative, and the Parliament and the Executive Council of the Irish Free State shall, respectively, pass such further legislation and such other things as may be necessarily to implement the scheduled treaty, assigned a short title and specified that the treaty to have been ratified. Article 12 of the treaty accorded to Northern Ireland the right to secede from the new Free State and rejoin the United Kingdom, giving its Parliament a month in which to decide, the so-called Ulster month. The treaty had been implicitly accepted by the UK Parliament in votes on the King's Speech in December 1921, and most of its provisions had been effected in March 1922 by the Irish Free State Act 1922. However, neither of these events was held to have formally ratified the treaty. This was because the Ulster month would begin as soon as the treaty had been ratified, and it was felt that the opt-out should not be exercised until after the Free State had come into being. Section 5 of the Irish Free State Constitution Act therefore declared the Act to be the ratification of the treaty for the purposes of the Ulster month. Enactment. The Irish Act had been approved by the Irish Constituent Assembly on the 25th of October 1922. The bill for the UK Act was introduced by the Prime Minister, David Lloyd George, into the Parliament of the United Kingdom in November 1922. The bill's third reading in the House of Commons was on the 30th of November. The New York Times reported on the passing of the Act on the 5th of December 1922 as follows: At 6 o'clock this evening an event of great historic interest and of international importance took place in the House of Lords. A few minutes before that hour, the Irish Free State Constitution bills had passed the final stage in the House of Commons by formal acceptance of the Lords' amendments. It was brought back, ribboned and sealed, by the Clerk of the Commons himself, and handed to the Clerk of the Parliament to receive the royal assent. This was conferred, as usual, by the Royal Commission, the members of which were Lord Cave, Lord Novar and Lord Somerleyton. King George will make a special journey from Sandringham tomorrow to hold a Privy Council in Buckingham Palace, at which he will sign a proclamation declaring the adoption of the Irish Constitution by the British and Irish Parliaments. The Constitution will come into operation immediately on the issue of the proclamation. The New York Times also reported that in Parliament a group of communists singing the red flag caused a minor disturbance as the formalities relating to the Act's passage were underway. Northern Ireland secedes from the Irish Free State. On the 7th of December 1922, the day after the establishment of the Irish Free State, the Parliament of Northern Ireland addressed the King requesting its secession from Irish Free State. The address was unanimous, with the abstentionist Nationalist and Sinn Féin members absent. The king replied shortly thereafter to say that he had caused his ministers and the government of the Irish Free State to be informed that Northern Ireland was to do so. Position in Irish law. After the Statute of Westminster 1931, the UK government recognised the right of the Irish government to amend or repeal the UK Act. But in fact the Irish government did not do so until it was formally repealed as spent by the Statute Law Revision Act 2007. The Irish government amended the Irish Act in 1933, and the 1937 Constitution repealed the entire Free State Constitution. The UK Judicial Committee of the Privy Council ruled in 1935 that the 1933 Act had implicitly amended the UK Act with respect to the jurisdiction of the Free State. The Irish Supreme Court has taken the view that the Free State Constitution was enacted by the Irish Act, not by the subsequent UK Act. This reflects the view of popular sovereignty rather than parliamentary sovereignty, with the Constitution's legitimacy ultimately springing from the 1922 Irish election.